Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. That's still my email. It's still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Email me for pricing. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today we're discussing the original first generation Vacheron Constantin Overseas self-winding reference 42040. The model launched in 1996 and made through 2003. The timepiece has an entirely different fit and aesthetic compared to later, bulkier iterations, and it's very true to Jörg Heisig's famous 1977 222 design, while still featuring original ideas by co-designers Vincent Kaufmann and Dino Modolo. This watch, 37 millimeters in diameter, measures a svelte 8.6 millimeters thick, and then from lug to lug across the case, the total distance is 48.6 millimeters. You can see this watch is absolutely blazing in yellow gold, and it's got an incredible amount of mass and heft for a relatively small watch, being thin and 37 millimeters. Eyes closed, you'd suspect something even more substantial. On the wrist, you can see that I have quite a bit of clearance between the end of the case and the edge of my wrist, so I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Over the top, you can see, again, the case lugs well and bore to the edge of my wrist, and I'm pulling it pretty tight. And being low and sloped, it'll easily slide underneath the dress cuff. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, this generation of Overseas bracelet was by far the most intricate, and I expect this was probably the most expensive to make because of the intricacy of the finish. Polished on the outer facets, you could see satination longitudinal across the top. We have these two channels with polished facets internally, and then a little bit of a rolled bevel down the shoulders of the links where they transition from their hoods to their sides. You can also see underneath, the interior of the bracelet was all mirror polished. Unnecessary, but thank you for the attention to detail, Vacheron. You can see we have here removable links, fixed in place using screws, and there is an intermediate sized link. In case you do find yourself in between sizes, you can remove or add that one to fine tune the fit. The clasp, like the bracelet, is incredibly intricate. You can see it's a double fold, but then it has this open and close locking mechanism with a little Maltese cross on it. So we close it when it's in open position, and then we lock it once, push it over, and then we lock it again with this clamshell. And so you have this Maltese cross type motif on the clamshell. So two different locks, one the switch and the other the clamshell. Rolling around the case, it is the thinnest Overseas, and it would remain the thinnest until the arrival of the 2000V reference in 2016. So you can see one of the major differences between this and the current third generation is that there's no circular plinth underneath the bezel, which sits directly on the lug hoods. The case band is polished, the lug hoods and the case top are satinated. There is a rolled bevel between them. The bezel features that Maltese cross motif. Why? Well, because it is the logo of the company. You can see it on the dial. You can see it on the crown. You could see it in the form of the buckle. Now, taking a look, you can appreciate that the intricacy of the bezel matches that of the bracelet, as the outer bezel is polished, but the recesses are vertically satinated. We do have a screw-down crown with stubby little crown guards, and the watch is impressively 150 meters water resistant. The dial with a to-die-for tritium fade, you can see it as T signed, yellow gold, aperture for the date, logo, dart-style indices, and hands. And then a spectacular brown bronze sunburst metallic dial with this lovely vaulted Vacheron Constantin Genève marquee up at the top. Now, it is a chronometer. This was the only Overseas series to be chronometer certified by the COSC. And inside we have a Vacheron caliber 1310, which is actually a Girard-Perregaux 3100 that has been adjusted to chronometer spec. You can see on the reverse side a couple of different finishes. We have this lateral satination that runs from one side to the other on the case back. We have circular satination on the outer part of the case back. Again, see that Maltese cross pattern. We have this radial satination on the inner case back. We have chiseling in the sky behind the ship, and then the ship and the waves are all polished. And this is the Italian naval training vessel Amerigo Vespucci. That was the image basis for this ship. It's said to be, if not the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful square-rigged ships in the world, and I can attest to that. I've seen it. So the caliber 1310 here is an automatic winder with unidirectional action. It has a 4 Hz beat rate, 27 pivot joules, 5-position adjustment, chronometer certification. It'll run for 46 hours from a full wind, and it has both hacking seconds and a quick set date. And that's notable because the current generation Vacheron self-winding has neither a chronometer certification nor hacking seconds. So this movement is high horology, and make no mistake, not only is it highly adjusted to chronometer spec, but being a Girard-Perregaux movement, it is beautifully finished with a Vacheron custom rotor, a high horology movement befitting a high horology watch. And remember, for its first quarter millennium of history, Vacheron was an établisseur, designing the watch and components, but buying them from the best suppliers, bringing them in, finishing them, assembling and adjusting them. That's how Vacheron became part of the Holy Trinity. That's how it built its legend, and that's why I'm always completely comfortable about customer calibers and Vacherons as long as they are the best available. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.